Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our meeting tonight. Call this meeting to order. We will stand and do the pledge with Commissioner Robertson leading.
In the pledge, I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Vicki, can we do a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Bowser. Here. Commissioner Bueller.
Here.
Commissioner Day. Commissioner Hewitt. Here. Commissioner Robertson.
here,
Commissioner Shaver.
here,
Commissioner Warren.
here.
All right. We'll move on to the approval of minutes. Tonight we have August 3rd, a special meeting and the regular meeting to approve. I have some edits that I will pass down.
Okay.
Did
There
anyone
was
else
one
have
edit for the first one.
We cannot do them together.
Yes, you can do it together.
Okay. Any objections or further edits? Yes. Do we need a motion for this one?
No.
I don't think we do. Without objections and with the edits offered, we have to approve both the special meeting and the regular meeting on August 3rd. Great. Okay. We have no courtesies and we have no proclamations, so we will be moving on to board and commission reports. We'll start with Commissioner Hewitt.
The airport board has, we met last Wednesday and the paving has been done pretty much, and they will be doing the striping, painting, striping in September. Fish and Game will have to rectify when they move the building that they are in right now. It's a trailer. They will have to put the land back to its original name. They are going to try to round the corners so the semis that come in from the electric gate they can't make square corners, so they're going to try to round that out. And the news artist 3 out of 4 times did not publish the farm lease bid. And that's about it.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Hewitt. Commissioner Warren?
So the Public Works, board, there's been a Public Works director hired. He'll be starting sometime next month. We've also got a few of the other jobs that were posted. We've been having more luck with applicants, and things are looking up.
Commissioner Robertson?
Nothing to add, I was supposed to vote, so nothing to add.
Commissioner Shaver?
I have no report.
Commissioner Bowser?
The ordinance and library, meet tomorrow, so I'll have reports next meeting.
The Central Montana Foundation will meet next Tuesday, August 25th. And the audit committee will be meeting this Thursday, the 20th at noon. Okay. Great. On to city manager report.
Yes, as we briefly discussed, we're still awaiting, tax payments for May and June. We are able to cover payroll costs and other operating costs, and continue to follow up on the status of the payments. The Public Works Department has been out painting crosswalks, around schools and along the trails. They also installed some new traffic control devices in the Lewis and Clark area. This is actually something we talked about in our Public Works Committee and through, kind of some collaborative meetings with the school. The plan is to, slow down some traffic, to help with pedestrian safety and traffic congestion in the Lewis and Clark area. And then we recently have received, several questions regarding block camera systems. The city of Lewistown does not own or, a flock camera or any license plate reading cameras. And I know tonight, Chief Janice is in the room, so he may have some more insight as to, what kinds of cameras, the city has. The only thing we have in the public is on Creekside currently. And, it's not monitored or anything. We use it to deter, vandalism and things like that. So if we have acts of vandalism, we can download that information and turn it over to law enforcement for their investigation. Chief, did you have anything to add? Questions from you guys? Community activities, the LDA is gearing up for their hot summer nights this week, or hot summer days this weekend. We are winding down the pool. School starts obviously, this week. So most of the kids start August 19th. So just a reminder to people, to watch for pedestrians in the areas. As I said, we will be winding down the pool. Thanks to the help of the volunteers and our volunteer lifeguards, we are able to extend our season until, pretty close to the end of the month. August 29th is slated to be our last day. We have modified the hours slightly. And so if you have questions, we encourage people to check, Facebook. The whole Facebook page has, up-to-date information there. Brief updates on the wastewater project. We did recently find out that our project was awarded $850,000 in principal forgiveness, for, the biosolids upgrade project. So they're still working on getting through their review at DEQ, but that was good to know. The, zoning code update, we did close that survey at the end of July. Approximately 130 responses were received. Those results are being compiled and we'll utilize that information gathered in that process to guide us, through the zoning code update. As the commissioner stated, the ordinance committee meets this Wednesday at 11 a.m. The audit committee is Thursday at noon. We have offered, or at least are in background checks on 2 police officers. We've also got conditional offers on 2 dispatchers. So really the only position we have currently open is our rec specialist. If you know somebody that is outdoorsy and likes sports and working with kids, we encourage them to reach out to the Civic Center or city office. All I have, thank you.
Any questions? Okay. Moving on to public comment. Thank you guys for coming. Public comment is used for non-agenda items. If you do have a public comment, please step up to the microphone. It needs to be turned on so we can hear you very clearly. We also utilize a 3-minute timer so everyone has enough time to share their comments with the commission. Thank you. This is your time.
Question. I have a comment that pertains to the consent agenda. Can I say it now, or you've already approved the consent agenda.
We have not moved on to the consent agenda yet. Do you have a question about the process of how we approve or something in particular in the consent agenda?
Just a comment about something that's in the agenda, or in the,
No.
payment of the.
You can share that now if you would like to.
What? Hold on, table.
Oh, never mind.
No, he's fine.
What are you saying?
If you do it during consent, then you have to do another process.
This is the time.
Yep, this is the
Join
time,
us.
correct.
Thank you. John Carlson, of Milan. 314 Fourth Avenue North. Just a comment about the consent of the bills that were just paid. Going through it and stuff, let's see, on page 4, there was Lewistown Hardware. Yvonne bought a bunch of vinegar for weeds, and then later on in the report, there was a visitation to True Value to buy some more vinegar for weeds. And they're both under the park. My comment is, a couple of sessions ago, we had a discussion about the weeds along the trail, this type of thing. And if I recall correctly, the Trails Committee said they were shorthanded, needed a certification, this type of thing, in order, they were cutting the weeds. That's one method, but if you're gonna try to make a long-term dent in the problem, you need to spray them so it gets to the roots and kill the roots. I spent a little bit of time on the internet, and vinegar, commercial vinegar, is used in taking care of weeds. If you use that, you have resolved the problem of getting the certification that the commission brought up for a person to quote from your standing to have the license or whatever they need for it. There's recipes on how to mix it and match on the internet. And if it can be done in the parks and the playgrounds at the present time, you sure don't need certification. So I'm suggesting that maybe the commission try to look outside of the box, find some old people like me or somebody else to volunteer to do it and provide them with the vinegar solution to take care of the weeds. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Me again. Michelle Rainey on Castle Ridge Drive. Well, I think there's a lot of us that aren't too happy about the zoning, survey that was online, just finding out about it, anything about it. I started to tell people about it and they hadn't even heard about it. And then I had a lot of seniors that couldn't go online to figure it out. And then a lot of us were reading them and the questions didn't make a lot of sense. So I hope that's not going to be used, that's our participation, because there really weren't that many people, 123 or something like that isn't that many for our community. And I think a lot of people didn't know about it. The other thing is that I have a picture of, I think it's like 27 cars on Saturday at 8th Street and Spring.
And Scott and I have decided to sell our house there. We were gonna retire into it, but we just figured there's not gonna be enough parking. So one of the things, and I don't know who we talked to, if it's our legislature or what, about possibly getting some parking in front of our homes. If they're gonna go down to a half a car for the 1,200 square foot and under, maybe we can have that regulated, I don't know. But a lot of people wanna be able to park in front of their house. We have a lot of seniors that live out there and homeowners that wanna be able to park out there. So that's something we're gonna probably look into. Cause there was not a parking and traffic survey done. That upset a lot of us. That neither our city nor the builders had that done. So I don't know if any of you can help us figure that out about the parking. Be able to get maybe permitting or signs or something in front of our homes to be able to keep those spots. We don't want to have the whole Lewistown change, but sometimes when you have commercial buildings in an area, that's a possibility. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Byrne, 212 in the Esplanade. I wasn't gonna say anything, but when she brought up the parking, I have received an email. Individual looked into it and, they've dealt with this situation in Helena and in Bozeman. And what they did was permit parking. The areas that own their ground, they set it up as permit parking only in those areas. And that's what we're considering at the Esplanade. So that means there'll be a block, 3 sides of our block, plus the half a block that is bordering next to where the building is going. We could do the very same thing on those sides, so that, have that parking, but permit parking only. And that would eliminate it. This has been approved in a number of cities, so we're considering it.
Thank you.
Dean Allen, 711, 2000 North. I'd like to ask, what this code enforcer guy does. I say earlier, I made a comment on him that he was sitting underneath the shade tree and I went up and talked to him, but, down by me, there's junk cars, that are sitting on the street that have not been moved in 8 months, 9 months. There's trees. I can't even get my fifth wheel camper into my yard. There's so many trees and overhang, and then if I use my alley to exit my home, pull out onto the bypass, I can't hardly see because the trees are growing, and blocking the view. I just wondered what this code enforcer does, because, to me, he does not do enough to justify his job. By the time you maintain a pickup and fuel and his wages and everything else, and he's just, it's more of a sneaking around, make sure somebody didn't pay a $10 or a $20 building permit. And I think it's pretty poor in the first place, but I kind of wish that he would do something. These vehicles are supposed to move every so often and stuff, and they haven't, and all these trees protruding way out into the street. I mean, that's a problem all over town. But, if you can't get in and out of your residence with a camp trailer a couple times during the year, somebody needs to address that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That will close the public comment time and move on to our consent agenda. All right, any questions?
I had a question on, this is the, 731-814, page 2. Well, the last section is number 2 in the last section.
What that is, the Friends of the Pool purchased new Chase lounges for the, pool. Gray and, yep, and, we paid for them, and then they're going to reimburse us. And it will be taken out of the 2211, and I'll put the money back in there.
Any other questions? I would entertain a motion or two.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Are we doing both? What?
Diana, would you like to clarify if that's for both of the claims or just?
Well, if it's the consent, it's
I was
all.
gonna say. Okay, we'll go with all of them. Is that a roll call or is that?
You can just ask for a raise in hand.
Please raise your hand if you are for approving the consent. No. Okay. Okay. We'll move on to our regular agenda items. Agenda item number 1, discussion and action on approving resolution number 4229, resolution and application request from St. Leo's Catholic Church for TIP funds made to the Lewistown Tax Increment Advisory Committee. City Manager Holly Phelps.
So recently our TIF board received an application from, St. Leo's, for some TIF funds to be utilized for their ADA ramp that is currently, under construction. And so, they've requested $20,000. The project is significantly more. The TIP board did approve. The recommendation is to award, $20,000 to St. Leo for that handicap.
I can see we have a member from the TIF board here. Would anyone like to share any other information?
Father.
Yes.
So where's?
No.
Other than Solars, 124 West Broadway, St. Louis. This is the start of my 3rd year here, so I'm the new guy in town, so please be kind. We've been engaging in some very necessary restoration projects at the church. And one of the big problems we've had has been ADA accessibility. The ramp that's been in front of the church was, number one, not ADA compliant in any way, shape, or form. And it actually became dangerous in the winter time because it was so slow. We have a number of parishioners that are actually willing to moor now. I've had people say they can't come to grandchildren's weddings for another 10 because they can't be in the church. And one of the first things we did when I got here was we put a committee together and said, how can we solve this? We came up with the ADA ramp. The vast majority of the funds for this have been raised already by the parish internally. Again, this is an access issue. This is not an issue of faith or promoting the faith. This is, can you come to your granddaughter's wedding? Can you come here? Can you come to a community concert that's open to everybody? And right now the answer is if you have disabilities, probably not. So the money we're looking for is one of the things we wanted to do to make it a year-round solution was to install heating in the ramp so that during the winter time, obviously everything turns into an ice skating rink and whether you're at any given time. So the heating solution was intended to be installed. We didn't realize we'd have to run entirely new panels and an entire set of copper cable all the way from the back of the church around the front. So this assistance we've requested would largely help us with the unexpected overruns of insurance. Much of the ramp has been done, but if you drive by, you'll see the electrical is not installed. The pads are there. The electrical, where to plug it in is installed. We're not able at this point, without going into serious overruns to finish that up, and this would very nicely tie that up for us. if you graciously be willing to consider this. Again, it's an access issue, and everyone here in this group allows to come for any reason should be. Hey,
Commissioner, where you like to speak to this also, you'd like.
It would be great.
I'm Dave Byron, the new chair. I don't think Commissioner Robertson was there. The state statute is very clear about ADA compliance, about, buildings that are used for public events. And so we took a hard look at the state statutes. This qualifies. It has nothing to do with worship. We have a number of things that we have funded over the years that you folks have approved that aren't necessarily a for-profit business, but that do enhance the quality of life and the economic development in the TIF and TED districts. One thing about this project was normally we would expect an application to come in before the project is begun. For a variety of reasons, that didn't happen in this case. We've shown some flexibility in the past, and in this case, our conversation was that so much of the work is yet to be done. I don't know if we put a dollar sign on that, but there is a large part of it that has yet to be completed. So with that in mind, we felt it was appropriate to recommend this to you folks for approval.
Thank you.
And happy to speak to any other questions anybody has.
Any questions?
Um,
Just yes, David.
Dave? Yeah,
So my only question is, at what point do we stop bending the rules with, it has to be going? That the project can't be started.
well, you folks have ultimately you folks can decide whether or not you accept our recommendation. We have, ever since I've been involved with the TIF and TED board, and I wasn't there at the beginning, we have tried to show some flexibility, and we've tried very hard to work with property owners. Not everyone is as well versed in the intricacies of TIF and TED funding as members of the board are, or especially our staff member. So we have shown some flexibility over the years. If it's the desire of the commission to expect us to then not do that, that's fine. If you got your direction, we work for you in that sense. That's what we'll do. But we have tried to be flexible over the years in working with property owners.
Okay, sorry, I was under the understanding that people have been turned down because they had started their projects before.
It is, I'd have to go back and look at my notes. It is possible that someone was turned down and the project was completed. There's an example, for example, I believe it's your brother who came to us with a project that didn't qualify. What we said to him was, that doesn't qualify. And I can't remember if he already started it or if it was plumbing in the building. It did not meet the state statutes. But what we said to him was, boy, if you're doing this project at Bank Electric, we want to help you. Come back to us. We can do more than what you're asking for on the plumbing. So I don't know if that speaks to that or not.
No, that wasn't what I was talking about. I was just trying to get clarification and make sure that we are following the rules that we set and not setting ourselves up for issues in the future.
To my knowledge, we're not setting ourselves up for issues in the future, but if you want to give us clear direction on that, we will certainly accept it.
And I would agree with that. There is no statutory obligation as far as the timeline. And it is all a reimbursement type grant. So before we pay out, everything has to have already.
Yeah, we don't pay anything out until the bills are until at the end of the project, and we have to be shown the bills before we will reimburse. Thank you, Holly, that's a better clarification than I gave.
The self-supporting project, all costs as a more consideration will be given to a project that demonstrates sufficient tax increment to cover.
Correct.
Do they pay tax increment?
They don't, but, you know, we did a very sizable grant, for example, to the, Creekside. They don't pay taxes. But I don't think anybody here would argue that Creekside hasn't met jobs, growth, business, economic development. So we've tried to be somewhat flexible on that. The Presbyterian Church got a very small grant for their child care. It's not their child care. It's a business that's a child care business in the church. We felt like that should be supported because it's important for working families and for child care in this community.
When was that?
Oh, year ago, year and a half. And that child care is full. So there are working families that are taking advantage of that. Likewise, you guys have every right to turn things down, it's fine. We make recommendations, you make decisions. But the Methodist Church thing last month was really nothing about the church, it was about child care and working families. So not every project that we approve a grant for necessarily returns tax increments. There's the higher property taxes. Many of them do, but not all.
Would it be fair to say that neighboring properties may have value increased in their property?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that 100%. And, economic development, yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I think with the brewery, some people were here when we approved the, tearing down of an old building so that the brewery could go in. Jeff Southworth made it clear in this room that no, Creekside, no brewery. We funded Creekside. I don't think there's any doubt that the brewery has had a huge impact on property tax values assessments for city, county, schools, but also jobs, quality of life in our community. You can't always tie a direct line like that, but we try.
I got some questions. If you don't get the money from the city, will you guys finish the project anyhow?
It's a matter of figuring out how to do that, but be compliant, be federally compliant, we have.
I'm reading the statute different than Dave is. One is, I think the statute clearly says that the applicant's supposed to do it before the project starts. I know we've been letting that slide. I don't know why they do that, but that's what it says. And then on the other thing that I read in there, that if you're not supposed to give money unless that money, if the TIF did give the money, the project wouldn't happen. Same with the TED, like the medical center up there that I voted against last week, it's getting $250,000. They're gonna complete that if the city gives them money or not. And there's a lot of these projects, when they're already done, it's hard to say they wouldn't do the project without. Is that how you read the statute, or am I misunderstanding?
To my understanding, there's nothing in the state statute that says without a TIF or TED grant, in order to approve a TIF or TED grant, it has to be the final and only piece that will make that project happen. I'm not aware of
It's a suggestion, the criteria of approving. That was one of the first criteria.
I suspect there are many projects that TIF and TED have funded. Well, TED's just getting started, but TIF has funded that would probably have happened one way or the other without this. Some projects, that's not the case. The Homeward, the housing above One Health, they needed that. That was the last piece of that
financial stack. But I'm not aware of anything in the statute that says, a TIF grant has to be the thing that makes the project go, or you can't do it.
And just to be clear, the One Health, the thing about the One Health thing has nothing to do with One Health. That's an apartment above it that isn't owned by One Health.
Correct.
It was done by a corporation out in Missoula, right?
Correct. Working in partnership with One Health.
And it's also a not-for-profit.
Yep.
And
I know that, your application makes reference to that. I'm not certain that state statute is that specific as to timing and stuff like that, or preference, as to kind of being the last in. I know that's in their application process.
You know, I share my thoughts on, or vision on TIF a little bit. So the community, long before I was part of this, and before I was on the TIF board, the community said, we need to provide this part of our town some help to raise the top economic tide within this entire area, which helps the entire community, but it also helps the local tax base that's in that community. And so this money is put aside to help bring the quality of the economic engine in that region up. We've done things like replace a sidewalk along Lincoln School. Absolutely no tax base improvement there. But you need sidewalks and it's qualified, and they asked, the school district asked for that money, and so we said, you bet, let's do it. That improves the economic engine, the whole area. You know, the goal of it is to eliminate blight and to improve the economic base of that whole region. And I think any of these projects that do that, where we can help the citizens in that area improve their area, whether they're corporate or they're personal citizens or they're not-for-profits. If we can continue to bring the economic viability of our downtown up with the use of these TIF funds, I think we've met the comprehensive objectives. I don't think the statute gets into the same details. Some of what you're reading is not statute. It's some of the bylaws that we created, the city commission created to go with it, just so we're clear. It's not the state statute. I'm not saying you have to read the state statute. I'm just saying, I want to make sure there's not a confusion between the bylaws that were written by and changed by repeatedly this commission. So I guess I look at it as, are we improving the economic viability of this region and of our community by doing these projects? And there's no doubt, I've seen it for more than a decade, that we've seen significant improvement in the TIF district as a downtown when we've done these projects. And they would not have happened but for these funds. There were a lot of projects that were done with TIF monies that certainly the landowners would have done themselves. They wouldn't have had a choice. They'd have done them themselves. But the TIF stood up and said, we'll share the cost with you. And then I think that's the key, is this is sharing the cost, brings economic engine up. Maybe that's a more comprehensive view. So, but of course, this commission doesn't have to agree.
And the goal at the end of the day for city, county, and schools is that there's a sunset, 20-year sunset,
15.
well, whatever it is.
2029.
It's a little less than 20, but more than 15. And then Ted will sunset after that. And the goal is that when the city, county, and schools all said, we will invest whatever increase in taxes we might get in that defined district back into the district, in the hopes that 20 years down the road, 50 years down the road, our three government entities get more tax revenue back than they might have otherwise. And I think there's plenty of evidence that that's happened, not all because of what TIF has done, but TIF has certainly contributed to that and been a big part of it. And so ultimately, if we do our job right, we, the TIF board, then at the end of the day, and we are looking at larger projects right now, which I think I spoke to a few months ago here.
If we do our job right, city, county, and schools will generate more tax revenue because there's been more economic growth in areas that were identified as really needing more economic growth. That's our hope, and that's what we work for.
I would entertain a motion.
I move that we accept resolution for 229. A resolution approving an application from St. Leo's Catholic Church for the TIF funds made to the Lewistown Tax Increment Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hewitt, seconded by Commissioner Shaver. Lots of good discussion before. Are there any current questions or further discussion from the commission? Questions or discussion from the public?
Number 4229. Resolution and application request from St. Leo's Catholic Church for TIF funds made to the Lewistown Tax Increment Advisory Committee. Commissioner Bowser.
Aye.
Commissioner Bueller.
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaver.
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Nay.
Okay, it does pass. I have a, yeah.
Moving on to agenda item number 2. Discussion and action approving amendment number 2 to the Honda Shop Railroad Plan. City Manager Holly Buck.
Yes, so this is something we've discussed a couple of times now. The Honda shop is looking to sell, and so they have, proposed a second amendment railroad lease. You have previously seen the railroad lease. We changed kind of the term of it in our first amendment, and then went ahead and authorized the transfer of, or that kind of assumption of the lease. And so we did ask our attorney, contract attorney Martin Smith, to review this amendment. Martin is joining us. Him an opportunity.
Thank you, Holly. So I reviewed the Second Amendment to lease, as well as the documents that preceded all the way back to the BNSF railway contract selling the property to the city, as well as the applicable federal laws and regulations with the Surface Transportation Board. And the Second Amendment to the lease says two things that are contradictory. First, it says it's subject to that rail banking and bargain sale contract and City Resolution number 3820. City Resolution 3820 provides that the city may lease the property under a number of conditions. And one of those in the whereas clauses is that it cannot be encumbered. And this is consistent with the rail banking contract as well as federal law and regulation. When this property was sold to the city, it was done under federal law and subject to the Surface Transportation Board regulations. And the city committed in writing to accept all liabilities on the property, and accepted that property contingent to rail service being restored. And if Society Rail Service is ever restored through that corridor, whether by BNSF or a third party through the Surface Transportation Board, the city has to turn that over free and clear of all liens. And if there are liens on it, the city is obligated to secure the release of those liens. What this amended lease, a Second Amendment to the lease, purports to do in the main portion is allow the lessee, the assignee of the lessee to encumber the property to secure a $500,000, at least that's what it appears. It might be more, it might be less, because the final loan documents aren't here, loan, and put a lien on that property. I first think that the lien is improper by the city, but if the city decided to do it, it would have the obligation or the potential obligation to secure the release of that mortgage lien, which would only be secured by paying that mortgage. It does some other things that are less important, but also I think prohibited. But the right to encumber is the big issue. Number 4 also says that they can't modify, cancel, or surrender without consent of the lender. Again, that is at odds with the requirements under federal law that the city cancel this lease if it ever turns out that it's the federal Surface Transportation Board or BNSF decide to use that rail corridor again. They cannot subject that right of surrender back to the BNSF or to the federal government to a bank that holds a lien on it. So because of that, I recommend not agreeing to the amendment, second amendment of the lease by the city.
Questions they'd like to pose?
Partner Holly or Keith. But the subleasing rights, is that typical of what we do in leases where you could, we lease this property to somebody, they would then lease it again?
I'm not aware of any of that. Our original lease states that you guys have to approve any of the future leases, basically. There is no option to sell.
I would just say, a question or comment, you ready for that?
I'm ready.
I don't, it's great, we need to support, but I don't think we have the right to.
And so I might be able to clarify that. It appears to me in the documents that I reviewed that this isn't a sublease. It was leased originally to, who was the original? Edwin L. Evans and Phyllis L. Evans as the original lessees. And they assigned their rights under the lease to Three Brother Holdings LLC. So they didn't do a sublease, but rather an assignment of the lease. And I think that assignment was approved already. So Three Brothers Holdings LLC, I believe, I don't have the documents in front of me, but my recollection is that they're already the assignee of the lease. They're not a sublessee.
Yeah, I'm know that section 7 of this give the right to. So I found that I didn't know if that was standard or not.
Being with our original lease.
Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed out that I saw, as you saw, a number of things that conflicted with my general understanding of real banking lease terms. Just because I didn't one of those either the other by federal right or some unusual statute, but if they don't, then I don't know how we can do it like this. Yeah. Violation of federal agreement.
Martin?
I'm sorry, you're kind of breaking up and I'm not hearing the question.
So why was there a second amendment? Why couldn't we just assign the lease over? We did. If Phyllis and Ed had it for why can't the new? And I'm guessing is the bank probably wanted them to secure this lease.
You're correct.
Or the underwriters for the bank.
Five, three, whatever, you see each other. That's what happened. They'll find out if we're- they'll get it by now.
With an SBA, they, it's an SBA and that's what the underwriter is requiring.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I believe. Obviously, I don't have the history on the other side with the lessee, but it appears that they want to secure some financing to do some improvements on the adjacent property that overlaps onto this property a little bit based on the aerial images and cadastral. And the lender and or the SBA are asking for this property as security for that new loan. So I think that's the impetus behind the request to amend the lease. Seems like that is, but again, the assignment itself is internally inconsistent. I mean, the Second Amendment is internally inconsistent itself because it says in the whereas clause, is a second whereas clause, that it's subject to the Lewistown City Resolution number 3820, Section 8D of the National Trail System, Section 16 USC 1247D, and the City of Lewistown's rail banking and bargain sale contract dated September 11th. Then it goes on to talk about one of the amendments. Amendment number 3 is the right to encumber, and amendment number 4 is the right to no modification without the consent of the lender. But both of those terms, as I interpret them and understand them, are inconsistent with the whereas clause, which incorporates those other documents. I mean, technically you do have a right to allow liens on the property, but that puts the city at a significant risk if BNSF or the Surface Transportation Board decide to restart service on that rail line and take back that property. The city has the affirmative obligation to clear the liens itself, whatever that costs, or it has the affirmative obligation to indemnify the Surface Transportation Board and or BNSF if they clear those liens. Second, notice to lender modification, you can't cancel or surrender without their consent. That is completely contradictory to the requirement of federal law and that rail banking contract, where it just has to be surrendered and the lease has to be terminated if they decide to take possession of it again.
Who drew up the amendment? Is it from the lender or is it their?
Ryan Purdy.
So it's the lenders requiring this language.
Lender is requiring this. Yeah.
I deal with these leases all the time. No,
Just on the, putting the main building, which is in this a little.
Ollie, how many leases does the city have in this rate?
Probably over 20 railroad leases.
We're sure they're all on covered. We hope.
Most of them are not built yet.
No, this is the only one.
What's your recommendation, that we don't accept this?
That would be our recommendation. Back to
Yep.
them.
Yeah, that's my recommendation from a legal standpoint, that we can't enter into this amendment as drafted. Those two provisions specifically, there are other changes that you'd want to make if they wanted to negotiate it, but specifically those, I think, prohibit the city from agreeing to this amendment.
I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we reject the Second Amendment to the lease as presented, encourage them to come back with some better language. We can. That is not contrary to our current obligation.
I second.
There is a motion on the table by Commissioner Shaver and seconded by Commissioner Bowser. Oh, got it wrong. That's Commissioner Robertson, am I right?
Okay, that's what I've got.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Frank.
Okay, can you tell me what that motion was for rejecting the amendment and asking them to bring something back?
That does not conflict with our current obligation to federal rail bank.
Can I get one more question?
Yes.
Martin, would you be able to draft up a letter, maybe you and Holly draft up a letter to the interested parties, explaining that we really do want to do that. We really do want them to get the lease and everything, but the reasons why we can't is because of what you pointed out in the amendment.
Yeah, if the city wants me to do that, I'm happy to do that.
So you guys think that's a good idea? Yes. I don't want to just tell them no, and so we really do want it to happen.
Okay, any more questions or comments from the commission? Questions or comments from the public? All right, we have a motion on the table. We have a roll call.
Okay, we are,
Can I confirm that this is a motion to reject?
that is my understanding.
Thank you.
We've made a motion to reject the amendment and asking them to bring something back that doesn't contradict
Our federal rail banking.
our federal rail banking.
We can't encumber the lease, the property.
Requirement.
All right. Commissioner Bowser.
Aye.
Commissioner Bueller.
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaver. Commissioner Warren.
I won't be voting.
Motion passes.
Yes.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 3, discussion and action on reappointing Mr. Scott Solberg to an additional 4-year term on the Lewistown Tax Increment Advisory Committee. City Manager Holly Phelps.
Yes, so as we restructured our TIF head board, Mr. Scott Solberg was kind of determining whether he wanted to be on the board, or, not. And so at that time, we did not reappoint Scott, to the TIF head advisory committee. Scott has been on the TIF committee since the TIF board was created in 2016. He has served as the chair for much of that time and is a valuable member to that. As his children got older, he realized I think he had more time and has expressed a desire to continue with the board that he served. And so he did say that he was willing to serve. The TIF board did recommend reappointing Scott for another 4-year term.
Did we get any kind of application like we have to other boards?
Scott was out of town and I believe FNBC was going to prepare that, but I have not received it.
I move to reappoint Scott Solberg to the additional 4-year term on the head board.
I'll second
Motion by Commissioner Robertson, seconded by Commissioner Hewitt. All right. Discussion or questions? Any discussion or questions from the public? Right?
Okay, we are going to reappoint Mr. Scott Solberg. Commissioner Bowser.
Aye.
Commissioner Bueller.
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt.
it. Aye.
Commissioner Robertson.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaver.
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Yes, it does.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 4. Discussion and action on an agreement with Fergus County regarding maintenance and further development of H Street. City Manager Holly Phelps.
Yes, so I was approached by Fergus County, to bring to you guys a very short agreement, that was passed out today, where the county is willing to do, maintenance on the asphalt of the portion of 8th Street that is currently located in the county. So this would be north of the intersection with G Street, to approximately the truck bypass. it is in poor condition, and so they do understand that they would have obligation to pave that section. But in return, they have asked that the city agree to, basically consider that city right away. That's what you have before you tonight, is a agreement that says currently it's owned by, Fergus County. The city has the rest of H Street, so we're out there plowing and otherwise maintaining that section anyway. And, they understood that if the city was to take over the maintenance and responsibility of that section, it would have to be annexed into the city limits. Of course, that takes a survey and some additional work, that couldn't be prepared in a timely manner. They are willing to pave it, and time is of the essence. And, the city would understand that we'll have the future maintenance of that section.
Just to confirm, this would be for the road only and does not deal with any of the properties on H Street, just that section of road?
Yes, so we'd have to work with all of those property owners to dedicate, what would have been a road easement. We operate under dedicated, right of way, and so they would have to create and sign off on a plat, to dedicate that to the public. And then they do not pay taxes on that section of property. So it is a process to get that paperwork done.
But to be clear, there will be no requirement of annexation from the property owners for the rest of the property, correct?
It's not implied in this agreement, and that would be up to you guys. So yes, if you guys do not want that, that is acceptable.
Has the city ever done something like this before?
Not necessarily in advance. We have taken just right-of-ways and things like that, but yeah, and actually tonnage.
I'm a little confused, yeah, like, this H, isn't H and G Street parallel to each other? Yeah. G Street goes on that corner.
They're good jobs.
After Diamond.
Okay, Ross Butcher, Fergus County Commissioner, Travis Wilson, Fergus County Commissioner here as well, and John Anderson, Road Department. So what brought this up is there's that sort of orphan section from our perspective of H Street, which goes from the truck bypass up to where the intersection of G comes around and ties into H. And of course, that's all freshly been paved. It's, the new subdivision up there. And now it's become quite a thoroughfare between the highway and the truck bypass and, with all the new development and all that. And a few years back, we paved the little piece from the apron coming off the highway to the walking trail, because it was so potted, it was just horrible, but it's a lot of money. And, Fergus County's not in the pavement business. We deal with gravel roads and that sort of structure, but our interest is not in maintaining paved, roads. But from the walking trail on up, so approximately a quarter of a mile, it's starting to come apart. And, our answer generally on old pavement that's in the county is we chew it up, we turn it back to gravel so we can actually maintain it. Not a good option for that piece, right? Nobody's gonna be happy with that. And so we looked at that and I realize it's kind of quick. And maybe we won't be able to get it all done, but the intent was Century Construction's doing much paving. We had some conversation with them. We have just kind of an idea of what it might cost us. And that triggered the commission to reach out to Holly and just say, would you entertain this? It's kind of based off of Maiden Road, right? Had this huge fight for 25 years about who owned the road going up to the old town Maiden. And finally, folks up there proved it belonged to the state. The state came to us and said, all right, here's what we'll do. We'll pave it. And once we've paved it, we're turning it over and it's yours, right? So that's what we did because we understood it wasn't gonna get done otherwise. And it makes sense in a situation where you have a little piece of road that doesn't fit into your normal maintenance routine, to look at transferring who's gonna take care of it. So our intent is to bring it up to standard. Century looked at it and said, we'll go in and repair
do like an inch leveling surface on it, of asphalt, and then a 2-inch lift, so it matches everything else out there. It's all freshly paved. So it's good shape when it's turned over. But then when it comes to plowing snow and any other maintenance as it goes along, it just ties into the rest of city, the city street. So that's kind of the concept. We wouldn't want to turn something over that wasn't brought up to speed, but it really makes sense for us at this point. We're gonna, to try to not have to take care of that little piece is something that's orphaned out there by itself. And John can attest, I mean, it's one of those things that it's just sort of out of the way. It's the process, doesn't fit in with our normal routine, so. Anyway, that's the concept. I'm open to questions.
I just have a structural question. Usually we like to have curb and gutter associated with pavement. Is there a curb and gutter out on H anywhere?
On one side, in the more developed areas, there are,
Okay.
not necessarily on.
Most of it is not, okay. So would that hinder our ability to care for it in the future? No.
All right, the potholes that are there, are you going to dig those out and fill them up and then repave over them?
They will be repaired, repaired, and then an inch leveling coat over, and then a 2-inch lift.
But Century would be the ones doing it. It would
Yeah,
be
we're not
based
doing
on
it.
there.
Right.
It's guaranteed to last for 15 years after that.
Is that the Cadillac warranty? No, absolutely. I don't know, John, you wanna add anything, or?
Well, I just know that the city dictated, not dictated, they asked us to change our speed limit to match their speed limit, so. We were 35 coming out, got them off the truck, got going into them, so we lowered our 25 there last time. It's just tough for us to maintain it. And I live in the city and I should be a continuity of the road. But we were talking, there's a lot of traffic.
So it's 35 in the county and 25.
It was coming off the truck out till maybe 2 years ago.
And everybody drives 35 anyway.
Well, I found out you can drive 45.
Tested that for us, didn't you?
I would entertain a motion if we're at that point.
Is there any issue about annexation? Does anybody there worry, that lives along there worried about, or businesses along there worried about annexation? Is that gonna be the issue, or?
Could be. I was just gonna clarify, part of this is just kind of the process. There is a time frame if we're gonna catch Century when they're around, and it's a better deal to get it done. Which is why I talked to Holly and kind of hurried this up. We're gonna get it on our agenda. We still have to put out and ask for bids, right? We can't just take the estimate that we got originally. So there's a little bit of process. If you approve this going forward, it doesn't guarantee we're gonna get it done this year, or that it even happens, because we still have to take it to our voters and have it at a meeting and say, what does the residents of Fergus County think? And it is an opportunity then for people to have that question, what does it look like? Holly and I talked about it, and, none of those people out there, the businesses and those neighborhoods are, as far as I understand, are tied into any utilities. They're not getting water or sewer, any of those things. And therefore, they really aren't eligible to be like a forced annexation. They'd have to ask for it. So just the fact that the street now will be part of it does not bring them in automatically or anything.
Well, I was just thinking, I think before I was on there, they dealt with the Clement thing, where they kind of were semi-forced to be annexed in and they didn't want to, and then there was some legal issues.
Yeah, and that's a
Very different situation.
Yeah, not to get over there, but my understanding is they all took utilities.
Yeah, they took
Something that said,
Oh, okay, there,
And then said, no, never mind.
okay. I just, you opened that
So
door for that.
that's why I asked that question about not annexing anybody. No forced annexations related to this at all. This doesn't force anybody to be annexed.
Okay.
I would suggest you put that in the motion.
Yeah.
I'm not involved really with the board in the public, but I have no involvement with Century at all anymore. But I was party to the development of Century's headquarters there at the time when I owned a portion of Century. And actually donated at the time a bunch of what it took to get H Street paved. It used to be a 2-track when I first moved here. And so there was a lot of effort put into that, and have known all along that when that was further, it had been used despite being a 2-track for many years by a lot of people, including trucks. So improving it made a big difference. I don't think there's any doubt that that's going to continue to be developed. H Street, both sides of it will be developed. I know there's talk of developing more of it. And I think it's important if we have an opportunity to have the county step up, make right what they need to make right before we take the rest of that road. I suspect it will long-term be a state cut across and a state highway. It's always been assumed the state would step in at some point and make that a more developed road. And so I think it's appropriate, assuming there's no requirement of annexation for those folks based on this. I mean, it's different if there are other triggers for that, but not on this. Then I think it's appropriate to do this. And I'd make a motion that we enter into the city-county agreement regarding H Street as presented today with the stipulation that does not trigger any annexation of adjacent property owners.
Well, second. Here's a motion by Commissioner Robertson and a second by Commissioner Bowser. Again, we've had some good discussion before, but are there any further questions or comments from the commission? Okay. Questions or comments from the public?
And Dean Allen, I would ask commissioners and you guys put it out to bid. Again, that work that Century did, I know when you were there, it was a lot classier outfit. It is terrible. The chip sealing that they did on Boulevard and some of this other stuff, it's horrendous. There's no reason for it, and poor quality and stuff, so please put it out for a bid. That is a very common route that we use to go to the grocery store and other things there, so having a quality job done is way better than fixing 2 potholes and doing this and that, but I would ask that you would really put time into it, put it out to bid, and get a quality job done instead of just a fast, easy job.
Thank you.
Legally, we have to put it out for bid, don't we?
Actually,
We don't have anything to do.
yeah, we're just signing that.
But now,
Did you out there?
it has to be a good process.
Okay. And any more questions or comments? Let's do a roll call vote.
Okay, we are approving the agreement with Burgess County to maintain and further develop 8th Street, and this does not trigger any annexation of adjacent property owners. Commissioner Bowser.
Aye.
Commissioner Bueller.
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaver.
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, let's move on to agenda item number 5. Discussion and action on approving the upfitting for the new police vehicle. City Manager Holly Feldman.
You may recall, in early 26, we put out a bid for a new police pickup truck. It's been, fabricated, manufactured. I don't believe it's made its way to Montana quite yet, but it is en route. And so now we are to the upfitting portion of the purchase. Upfitting involves, the decals, the sirens, the cage, all of the things that make it from a regular Ford F-150 to police. The quote we have is from Dana Safety. Dana Safety is located in Livingston, and the upfitting of it is just under $20,000.
With our current general fund, and where would this one get paid out of?
So the police department is 100% general fund, so it would come directly out of the general fund. We have included in the budget that you guys have tonight, the upfitting and, purchase of the truck, which we are already contracted to do, obviously. But there is some concern, obviously, our general fund cash balance is negative. So,
Can we delay this? Can we approve it, but delay the actual work on it until we have, general fund funded?
You're better off to have it come back for approval when we have more money.
it's go ahead.
So yeah, so the approval right now is going to allow me to sign the contract with data safety, and that's gonna give them the ability to order all this equipment and get it on their bill schedule. The bill won't come due until the project's complete, which I anticipate will be December, January. So even though you approve it now, the bill of actually paying the outfit is gonna be several months until we actually get it. But it will allow us to get into their bill schedule.
I think so.
Yeah, we're committed, if you approve, we're committed, but it would not be paid until we get the product.
And if you wanna wait, honestly, you don't.
Does the cost of the upfitting change at any point, or is it pretty standard?
It's usually pretty standard. Yeah, so, and all of our vehicles are, been pretty good. So we're not down vehicles. So honestly, if you wanted even to wait a month or two till like, fund is funded, it's not gonna be a huge deal, you know, so. I'm fine with it.
I think we should get it going. So,
We have budgeted for it. The numbers you saw, it was in.
and then we can charge the county late because we don't get it paid in time.
Okay. I can sign your name to the bill.
See, they ran out of here, they knew what I was thinking.
I know these processes do take a long time, so. I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the upfitting of the new police vehicle.
That's fine.
We have a motion by Commissioner Shaver and a second by Commissioner Robertson. Question and comments from the commission. I would just like to confirm you two that that is comfortable with where we are with the general fund doing it this way.
We're comfortable with it.
Okay. Great. Any other? Public, any questions, comments? Discussion? Okay,
I would just comment, I would have suggested we wait, and I know that was gonna take till December to get it built, so. We sure as hell better have the treasurer's office and.
Yeah. that's a,
At least for worries.
That's right.
okay.
All right, we are approving the upfitting of a new police vehicle. Commissioner Bowser. Aye. Commissioner Bueller.
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt. Aye. Commissioner Robertson.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaver.
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Motion. That happens. Item number 6, public hearing to hear comments on resolution number 4230, a resolution approving the fiscal year 2027 work plan and budget for the Tourism Business Improvement District number 1. Public comment is open. What do I do? Oh, sorry, that's really loud. So this is the public comment time.
And this is on our T-bid. Our T-bid is our, Tourism Business Improvement District, which is made up of our larger hotels. Those folks charge an assessment, for their hotel guests. They utilize that money, that they generate to promote the community, to sponsor events, and other opportunities that encourage tourism in the community. So in all essence, they're foregoing those $2 to better the district. And so, included in with the resolution is their work plan, with kind of their anticipated budget as well. They did not anticipate huge changes over the course of the next year. As we spoke in the budget, they did recognize that the trails and had some fire damage and may not be as functional as they were in previous years, and so they did decrease the budget just a little.
This doesn't include bed and breakfast, BBROs or anything, right?
Correct, just hotels with 6 units or more.
Okay.
Who is the tourist? Who, is it a company that, who, you know, who's on the?
So the board is made up of a representative from each of the 5 hotels, and then they have more than, I think it's 60 units, they get a second one. So there's 2 members from the yoga, otherwise everybody else has just one.
And who does all this marketing and everything?
So they pay, different folks, to do their marketing. Westwind does some. They've also employed, folks, advertising companies from out of town, to do some marketing for them as well.
We're used to. They still do.
Lately, we have a really good person working with the city of Lewistown doing marketing. And, that she could help.
Yeah, they contract their own, so they, put out that amount. We administer it, it's just a pass through here at the city.
I'd like to make a motion to approve fiscal year 2027 plan budget.
We are in a public hearing,
comment.
the next month, so you're in the future. Just take a moment to make public comment. Okay. Do I?
Oh, is that just on, are you closing?
This is just on the tourism, bid.
But can I ask any questions?
But any questions are welcome. Okay.
The only comment I would have is, pretty tough to make any comment or say anything without having seen anything. What you guys are looking at. How can we comment if we don't have it?
Is this a part of the packet?
It's part of the packet, and so people can pick it up or it's available online. And,
Meeting packets are available online, or you can pick them up from the city office.
Okay, I went to the city office and got, the agenda and stuff. But I was not aware of this. I would think the city should say, hey, here's what's on the agenda, here's the paperwork for. I had no way of knowing. Let me rephrase that. I'm going through the learning curve of what your protocol is. And it would have been nice if I had copies of everything that we talked about tonight. Because I spent most of the day looking at the budget side of the issue, with the resolutions and stuff. I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs because I don't have anything.
Okay. Thank you for that input.
So on our website, you can go to city commission, you can click on the meetings and the packets. You know, for a time, we were concerned about, people getting information and doing fraudulent activities with that. That is currently not the case, and so those packets can be accessed.
You see that website where it says COW, agenda and packet? So the COW is the committee of the whole item. The agenda is what we will go over, and then the packet will have the supplementary materials for each of those agenda items.
Okay, basically, you're talking to a non-techie person from a computer.
Okay.
So when you stop by, you want the full packet? Okay.
That's the only way I can honestly look at it.
Were these available on Friday?
I would have given it to you had that been what was asked.
Yeah, it was my misunderstanding, John. I just thought you wanted the financial stuff.
All I had,
Yeah,
was the,
all I got was the financial stuff. I will get the whole packet to you on next meeting. And I apologize.
Okay,
thank you.
thanks for that clarification. On that note, I think we will close the public comment unless there's any public comment on
One
the.
more. Did
you
you say something about the Catholic Church, if they put the ramp in, it'll?
So this is public comment on the T-bid work
Oh,
plan.
T-bid. Okay.
Yep, not the TIP. They're all the same kind of acronym. This is the Tourism Business Improvement District, not the Tax Increment Finance District. Sorry, we can use the whole phrase. On that note, I will close. Nope, I will not close it.
Sorry. So I've been here 30-some years, grew up agriculture, worked John Deere for years and years. Tourism in Lewistown, I know like Choke Cherry Festival, that brings in lots of money and the fair and a few things like that. But I think we're kicking a dead horse. We're not an end destination. You know, they butchered the living daylights out of Crystal Lake. It's uglier than sin up there. You know, the correct is cool, few people fish, hopefully they got a conservation license too, but, we have agriculture here. We're an agriculture town. We have millions and millions and millions of dollars being generated all around the city in agriculture, high quality beef, high quality grains and everything else. Why don't we promote the living daylights out of that? Why don't we make better businesses for farmers and ranchers in this town? Why don't we promote what our biggest industry is around here? I know you get tourists come in and get a few bucks from them, that's all well and good. But farmers and ranchers that are paying major taxes around here, they're bringing a lot of money to town. And I really think that this town should really do things for the farmers and ranchers. I mean, we draw a huge area, but our area is actually going other places because a lot of things you can't get in this town no more. So they're going to Great Falls, going to Billings. Why don't we do better here in town and make them come to town and buy more things?
Can I speak to that?
Yeah.
I worked at the chamber for a lot of years. The train brings tons of people in.
Yeah.
And being on a train, we used to try to put people that were from Lewistown with people that were from New York City. And we could explain to them, this is wheat, or this is grain, and this is what we do, and this is what our what our livelihood is. I come from agriculture. And I think that, I used to go to those tourism conventions for the state. We would win awards for being one of the top tourism things with the train. So I think the train does that.
Yeah.
They have the where they have the meals for the vehicle.
The longest table.
The longest table. I mean, I think we do try to do some of that. I think we try to, you know.
But you take the average person walking down on Main Street, you show a picture of a combine and 99% of them don't know it.
Yeah. But a lot of
But
this.
we need to really promote our high quality agriculture.
But a lot of this money that would promote those things came from these kinds of things.
Okay.
And those, I mean, yoga would be full.
I mean, you know, the Yogo, a lot of times, the train would fill them up.
Yeah.
And a lot of their money, they were all for it, these hotels were for that money to go here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my experience.
No, that's great, but I just, we've got a huge industry
Yeah.
right around us and we need to promote that part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gonna go real slow this time. Close of public comment. There'll be other times to do. Moving on to agenda item number 7. Discussion and action on approving resolution number 4230. A resolution approving the fiscal year 2027 work plan and budget for the Tourism Business Improvement District number 1. City Manager Holly Phelps.
Again, this is the work plan that the T-bid board came up with. They take the funds that a person that is using or renting a room in their establishment, it is $2 per occupied room night, that they set aside for their budget. As we briefly touched on, they, do sponsorships for events and other activities, marketing, and other activities to promote our community, and prepared the budget that was included.
Now, I would like to make a motion.
Can I ask for clarity on one thing?
Sure.
We're talking about resolution 4231.
30.
30, we're still on 30.
Yes.
Make sure. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the, fiscal work plan for the T-bid.
So resolution number 4230.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Bowser, second by Commissioner Hewitt. All right, any questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the public? Great, let's do a roll call vote.
Okay, we are going to approve resolution number 4, or we're going to vote to approve resolution number 4230. Commissioner Bowser,
Aye.
Commissioner Bueller,
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson, Commissioner Shaver,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Thank you. Approved, passed.
On to agenda item number 8. Discussion and action on approving resolution number 4231. Resolution approving an assessment to defray the cost of the work plan and budget for Tourism Business Improvement District number 1 for fiscal year 2027. City Manager Holly Phelps.
Yes, so this is to, budget $2 per occupied room night. There is some inconsistency in the language, so it is the $2. Again, it's an occupied room night. The city just acts as a pass-through. The hotels collect that. They submit those funds to the city. The board determines how to spend those based on the work plan you just approved. And then the city writes the check. So we just administer their program for them.
Perfect. I would entertain a motion. I do.
I make motion that we, approve resolution number 4231, approve an assessment to defray the cost of the work plan budget for Tourism Business Improvement District number 1 for the fiscal year of 2027.
I'll second.
Ooh, motion by Commissioner Shaver, and we'll give it to Commissioner Bowser for second. So I also heard Commissioner Hewitt.
Great.
Motion great. All right, do we have any questions or comments on this for the commission?
This is with typo correction in the second last paragraph.
Yep.
And the name.
Any questions or comments from the public? Okay. We'll put it to a roll call vote.
Okay, we're approving resolution number 4231. Commissioner Bowser.
Aye.
Commissioner Bueller.
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaver.
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Approved.
Great. Yeah, good. Yeah. Let's move on to citizens' requests.
I'm gonna speak because I gotta get on my bike, it's getting dark. You say something about the Catholic Church, if they put this ramp in, that it might add value to the neighborhood? Is that what I heard? Did you hear that?
The Catholic Church was awarded
Putting the ramp,
grant.
yeah, that it would add value to the neighborhood in the area. Didn't they say that? I thought I heard it, did you guys? So, I don't wanna beat this like a dead horse, but we don't want it to happen in Lewistown again, what happened at Springwater Apartments. 6 months, we talked about the values of our homes dropping. Like I said, my husband and I are gonna put our house on the market, I don't know what we're gonna get. This is Spring Street on Saturday. This is before the apartments are in, this is Saturday. So, I mean, we can't win this one now, but we just wanna make sure this never happens again in Lewistown. We're not just fighting for our neighborhood, we're fighting for Lewistown. And I like that you guys are listening to us now finally, but we were here for 6 months and all the way to court. Anyway, that's the reason we're doing this. We'll keep fighting, and we do want to try to find some resolution with parking in front of our own houses. I don't know how that's gonna happen. If you guys could come up with something, maybe we'll talk to Shane. But that's all I wanna say, and I gotta go. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' requests?
Hi, Angie Wright, 186 Jones Road. I just wanted to point out that on Casino Creek, the city part of Casino Creek has some potholes in it that are big enough to lose a car in. And, they're getting increasingly bigger. And I would just hope that with it being on the record, maybe something to be looked at for it.
Perfect, thank you.
There you. What you can see on Creek in the county.
Jason Carlson, can I make one request? My request would follow along with Michelle. You guys are actually kind of hard to hear, and I know if I had a hard time hearing you, I'm sure, I don't know, maybe am I the only one that had a hard time hearing you? Maybe could we scoot the tables closer? Just throw it out to me. I just have a hard time hearing some of you. So, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I would have to second that.
Great, let's move on to commissioners' minutes. Commissioner Bowser.
I don't have anything tonight.
Commissioner Shaver.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for showing up here. I thought I really did have some important things, but for including me, like, I didn't eat dinner because I'm hungry. So thank you guys for all coming, and, that's it.
Commissioner Robertson.
I have nothing there.
Commissioner Warren.
I just got called on the Casino Creek, potholes as well.
Commissioner Hewitt.
I apologize, I did not have my mic on. If you couldn't hear me.
You're feeling.
And is that it, Diana?
Yeah, okay, that's it.
I had a note to look at boulevards again. So whenever we discuss boulevard care and how we can maybe engage the community on how we want to actually take care of those. That's all I got. Thank you, guys. Meeting adjourned.